poppin' be? Purpuck here, and welcome back to another episode of Race the Ramen, the show where I attempt to review something unscripted in the amount of time it takes to boil an instant ramen. And today we'll be taking a look at Lilo and Stitch 2025, the live-action remake, only in theaters. Alright, I'm going to start the timer right. Ugh. Now. Okay. So, Lilo and Stitch, the live-action remake. Oh god, we're finally here. Okay. I'm gonna try not to waste time on this one. I did not like this movie. Now, I don't think I hate it maybe as much as some people do, but I did not like it. And I'd like to get that out of the way, because it seems like lots of people are having fun with the Lilo and Stitch remake, and, good for them. It's making its money, and, families and kids are having fun, and, that's great. I did not have fun. Not really. And, I got a lot of shit to say about this movie, because I think this is pretty bad. I don't think it's the worst live-action Disney remake. I'd say it's maybe still a few good pegs above, like, Pinocchio remake and the Mulan remake. Like, those are, like, nothing but, like, garbage and offensive in my mind. I thought this movie had a lot of problems, but it was not as bad as I was expecting. There's a few reasons for that. In case people haven't heard, there's been a lot of controversy about this specific Disney remake for a number of reasons. But most of them just kind of came out after the movie itself was actually released, because it seemed, for anyone who hadn't seen it, that they had completely uprooted the entire, narrative point of the original Lilo and Stitch. Like, Ohana means family, and that whole sweet, the cute found family narrative of all these weirdos coming together. They haven't really done exactly that, but man, did they just fuck up something that worked already. See, I could approach this with nuance, and I don't want to be just like a total angry, rah, they ruined my childhood kind of guy. But I can't lie, I'm upset. This is the first Disney movie they've remade that I've really cared about, that I was literally alive to see when it was new, and that I actually have fond memories of, so it's a little personal. I bet this is what it felt like for some people when the Mulan remake happened and shit like that. But I just like to clarify, this isn't the worst movie ever, but it's a fucking terrible remake of Lilo and Stitch. It is an awful remake of Lilo and Stitch. If it wasn't connected to this franchise, and there wasn't, all this precedent to connect it to, and, literally an original movie, several sequels, and, an enormous TV show, and all this spin-off crap to think about already, I don't know, it wouldn't matter so much. But it's they took this movie that had, while not, super heavy, crazy, dense themes, it had themes of, tourism being a problem, but also a staple of the economy in Hawaii, and, Lilo feeling isolated within her own culture, and there was the ugly duck narrative with Stitch and the adoption papers, and there was more stuff to do with Elvis, and then Jumba and Pleakley had a lot of stuff to do with their family at the end. All of that's torn up, seemingly because this movie was originally made for Disney Plus and had a lower budget. There's no Gantu, no big cool whale dude. There's generally a lot less aliens than you might hope. The animation looked a lot better than I expected, based on the teasers we had seen. I thought it was going to be ugly as hell, and that Stitch would be the only good-looking creature. I was wrong. I feel like the animation in general was pretty good, actually, and well integrated into the environment. And the direction is one of the few things about this movie that's decent. That was something I was kind of excited about. This movie is directed by Dean Fleischer Camp, who directed Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which is an adorable, sweet as hell family movie, and no joke, one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. So there's a little extra bit of a sting to this, that they attach such a great director to this fucking crappy project. But I'm going in all sorts of directions because there's just so much I could say. Everyone's talked about how it's spoilers for anyone who cares, spoilers. But everyone's talking about like, oh my god, Nani gives away Lilo to the state at the end of the movie, which doesn't exactly happen. It's weirder. It's like she gets the option to have Lilo live with the next door neighbors who are like friends of theirs and will take good care of her, which, you know, fair enough. While Nani can go to college on the mainland for marine biology, even though, as a lot of people have pointed out, Hawaii has the best marine biology program in America. And if you're a native Hawaiian person like Nani, your tuition and rent would be waived completely and you could do that shit for free. So that plot line makes no fucking sense. It's literally just misrepresenting reality. Like the whole fucking movie. Hopefully that gives you a decent impression of what I think of the movie. I could understand if it didn't, but like honestly, this is a mess. Like, there's so many more details I could go on about. The fact that they changed Jumba to be the villain, and that's awful. How they took away his Russian accent. How Pleakley doesn't dress in drag anymore, even though Dean Fleischerkamp tried. Quote, I tried. He really tried to get Pleakley in drag, but Disney said no. He gets to be a cowboy for one scene. At least the human disguised version of Pleakley gets to wear, like, you know, some kind of, like, gay, queer eye for the straight guy kind of fashion-y clothes. It's something. I kind of like the guy who played Pleakley. And, like, for as pointless as the new neighbor lady plotline is, they didn't do a terrible job of explaining who she is and why she is important to the family. I know I'm going past the timer, and I always do. But I could just keep going. This movie isn't the worst thing ever, but it's just a mess. It's a fucking mess. And that's what all of these remakes tend to be anyway. It's like, you had a movie that worked, a relatively short movie that worked, especially in Lilo and Stitch's case. It's tightly paced, wonderful little movie. And then you took out nearly every little thing I and a lot of other people liked about it, replaced it with worse versions of that, or with just like nothing else. All the characters are worse versions of themselves. Some of them don't feel like the same characters at all. And like the pacing is fucking awful because they ripped up the original script and fucked with it and made this longer for no reason. Again, like they do with all of these remakes. It's like, if it weren't for a few moments of charm and the feeling I get that they tried to maintain that spirit of the original while they clearly had like Disney corporate mandates breathing down their necks to not make certain decisions and to probably put like more resort stuff in here so they can advertise Disney Hawaii or whatever the fuck. I feel a beating heart in here somewhere, even if it's just a little, which stops this from being awful to me. But like, it still fucking sucks. Like, the original is fantastic. And maybe it's not fair to compare the two, but it's a remake, goddammit. They're remaking a movie from inside this century, from within my own lifespan. And they're like, look, it's the people that you love and remember. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, maybe that's Stitch. But, like, that's not Lilo. She's an okay Lilo, but she doesn't really feel like Lilo. Doesn't feel like Nani. That's not Cobra Bubbles. That's not Jumbo. That's hardly Pleakley. In a lot of, like, at its best, it's fine sometimes and not terribly offensive. At its worst, my girlfriend and I kind of agreed on this. At its worst, this movie feels like propaganda. Propaganda to buy more Disney products. Propaganda to, like, eat up more Stitch content, even though we have so much. Propaganda that this is the story you grew up with, when it isn't. It really isn't. And it's just like, oh god, no. And even on some small, sinister, genuinely like socio-political level, propaganda to like leave mainland Hawaii if you're a native, and like families shouldn't get back together or whatever the fuck. What were you guys going for? Legit, what were you going for? I never get this. They just always make these more complicated when the original was fine. The original was great. Just re-release the original in theaters and people will eat it up. But I guess a new product that reminds people of their childhoods is all you need to make $1 billion these days. Man, I can't wait to see everyone lining up for that How to Train Your Dragon remake and the live-action Moana. You people are fucking exhausting. I give Lilo and Stitch 2025 a 3 out of 10. Sorry that was such a rambling review, even by my standards, but there's a lot to talk about. But I didn't really want to do a per Pock Ponders or anything like long form on this, because like everyone's already kind of like leveled a lot of these criticisms of this movie already, and I don't know what to add. It's dumb. Is it the worst movie ever? No. But it really feels pointless and exploitative. It just wants your money. It's another Lilo and Stitch thing to make you like hand over your money because, aw, Stitch is so cute. And oh, they got the guy dropping ice cream, even though the guy dropping ice cream is like a fat native now instead of a fat white guy, so there's no commentary on tourism, and Lilo doesn't take pictures of fat strangers, and just like everything's wrong, okay? Like, people liked Lilo and Stitch because it was weird, alright? We liked the weird characters and the cute little weird things in it, and like the fun little montage at the end where they're spending Christmas and Halloween together. And you fucked with that. What else am I supposed to say? It's like, hey, they're like, hey, it's a thing you remember. I'm like, no. No, it isn't. It's a bad recreation of it that's kind of just worse in every way for all the little good things about it. No. Just no. I can't recommend this movie. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I can't stop you. This crap's already made like $300 million and it's going to keep going. But like, no, not for me. I would watch any number of movies before I watch this again. Frankly, I'd rather watch any episode of like the old Lilo and Stitch TV show before I watch this movie again. Just, no. Ohana means family. And in this case, my family agrees we should leave this shit behind and fucking forget it.